doctors that refuse to step forward because they work for them, and we've got veterans that were able to get through the system and receive disability, but they don't want their names used for fear of retribution from our government. Well, I'll shut up.
Is there any questions for Larry? Larry, pardon me, for Robert.
Bob,
Bob.
Bob,
Bob.
you can tell I needed a microphone when I was a professor.
Very good, thank you.
It's called Camp Bearcat. It was between Benoit and the South China Sea in the southern end of the country. December of '66 through November of '67. That was my tenure at the University of South Vietnam, where I studied the effects of the dioxin and other poisons. I've been diagnosed with MDS, Myelodysplastic Syndrome, the rare form of leukemia or blood cancer. I recently was also diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and had a triple coronary bypass 2 months ago caused by ischemic heart disease. So you see, Agent Orange has been busy with me lately. I'm the youngest of 9 kids, and my mother lived to 101 years old. There's no reason for me to have these diseases in the family. It's got to be something I ate or drank overseas. My primary purpose here today is to convince you that my exposure to Agent Orange, as likely as not, has caused my MDS. And I'm not the only one who believes this to be true. When Admiral Elmo Zumwalt filed a classified report in 1990 identifying 28 diseases that his investigative team found to be, as likely as not, resulting from exposure to Agent Orange. At the time, to his great credit, President Bush got this report. He immediately ordered compensation to be paid for the first 3 diseases. He disbanded the committee, the flawed scientific committee that was advising the secretary at the time because of all the junk science. The chemical companies were feeding them wrong information. They didn't want to pay the liability that was coming down the road. This responsibility has been given to the National Academy of Science. They report every 2 years the state of the science. This over time has led to a total of 13 diseases. I believe it's up to 15 now. And if this is quoting Admiral Zumwalt, and if I live, we'll get to all 28. He firmly believed that all 28 diseases had some relationship to Agent Orange and some of the chemicals. Dr. David Steensma was mentioned earlier. He's from the Department of Hematology and Oncology at Harvard University. He published a paper in October of '06 for the express purpose of correcting the confusion about MDS terminology. In this paper, he quotes, "I discuss evidence supporting broader consideration of MDS as a form of malignant cancer." I believe in his paper you'll read where he brings forth the information that the doctor who coined the phrase pre-leukemia came up with that name in 1953. It's been around a long time. This time we corrected it. Additionally, I have a copy of a VA case just recently in February of '08. A VA hematologist was asked to provide an official opinion as to the impact of herbicide exposure during service on an MDS diagnosed patient. So this is what he wrote. I won't read the whole thing. I'm giving you a copy of it to read. The chemical structure of Agent Orange is composed of benzene rings, and it is as likely as not that exposure to Agent Orange also involves exposure to the effects of its components, that is, benzene constituents. Benzene is a known causative agent of acute myeloid leukemia and is extensively documented in medical and environmental literature. He's citing a specific report from the Institute of Medicine from the Gulf War that talks about the relationship between benzene and acute leukemia as well as other bone marrow damage. Having reviewed all the records submitted in this case, this is the doctor speaking, I believe the preponderance of the evidence of exposure to dibenzoyl P-dioxins, the Agent Orange and the solvents, and the association with the myelodysplasia should be resolved in the veteran's favor. The known content of benzene rings and herbicides sprayed in Vietnam is an inherent part of Agent Orange structure, dibenzoyl P-dioxin. There's also a paper in there from the Agency for Toxic Substances, which is part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, that identifies the effects of exposure to benzene. There's a lot of documented evidence in the last 10 years about these exposures. The motto, delay, deny, and hope you die, has been rightly awarded our VA by the very veterans it is charged with protecting. You can correct this injustice today by advising the Secretary of the VA if you agree with the experts in the MDS field that the cause of MDS in Vietnam veterans is as likely as not our exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. As the former Secretary Consipi emphasized to returning combat veterans, we will have failed to meet our very reason to exist as a department if a veteran is poorly served. We Vietnam veterans did not abandon our country when duty called. Please do not abandon us now in our days of need. I was prepared to die for my country. I am not prepared to die because of my country. Thank you. I got a little emotional here, but I might not be around in 2 years when your decision is final. So I'd like you to do what you can for us. Thank you.